That hot mess that they air in the mornings, called The View, had to issue not one, not two, not three, but 4 corrections, legal corrections, 4 legal notes. We only have 3 of them on camera, but look at this. Let's imagine what they did at that debate, where once again, they tried to fact check only one side, and then when their fact checks got fact checked, they cowered. They cowered in fear. I mean, this is a pattern with them.
And by the way, out there, that hat that you keep wearing, that red hat that says "Make America Great Again," that tells people that you go along with this. So you might as well just put a swastika on the hat.
Don't do that.
Because we see it anyway.
I'm not going to defend Donald Trump ever, but I would never say that we should put the swastika on the cap, because I think you can hate Donald Trump. You can't hate everybody who likes him. It's half the country. I don't want to live in that country. I don't want to live in the country where I hate half the country, and I don't hate half the country.
The hosts of The View will never forget what Bill Maher and Megyn Kelly just pulled off. In a verbal showdown so sharp it bordered on savage, the two tore down everything the panel thought was untouchable. It wasn't just a clash. It was a total takedown. The chaos, unreal. The impact, unmissable. Like watching a slow-motion train wreck, you won't be able to look away. This moment isn't just dramatic, it's iconic. Watch it, relive it, feel the fallout.
About Whoopi Goldberg, because I got so many texts this week, because she attacked me the week before.
Sure.
So I wrote, it was like, "Oh, Bill, I get you're enjoying the karma." First of all, I'm going to talk about this at the end of my show next week, teaser. But there is no fucking thing as karma, okay? Get over that. Let me... attacks me on a regular basis. She says stupid shit on a regular basis. They just happen to coincide.
The internet is in total meltdown after Bill Maher and Megyn Kelly, two fearless media powerhouses known for never dodging controversy, unleashed a verbal assault on The View hosts. This wasn't your typical political debate. It was a ruthless roast session. Megyn and Bill didn't just push buttons, they hit nerves with the force of a heat wave on a blazing June sidewalk.
Disgusting. She's Anna Navarro in your wildest imagination. You could never solo host a show. You will only ever make it as part of an ensemble, and you could never hope to achieve the success that Tucker Carlson has. So you can sit in your little cheap seats all day long and enjoy your little negative henpecking, but your careers are going nowhere, and Tucker is about to dominate in whatever space he goes to. Hot mess that they air in the mornings, called The View, had to issue not one, not two, not 3, but 4 corrections, legal corrections, 4 legal notes. We only have 3 of them on camera, but look at this.
I have another legal note. Both Trump and Pam Bondi have denied allegations of a quid pro quo. I have a legal note.
You want to take this one, Joy, or are you
Megyn has long denied all allegations and has not been charged with any crime.
Here's a sharper, more refined version of your paragraph with improved flow, clarity, and dramatic tone. There's only so much criticism one can take, especially when it's delivered as a relentless mix of sarcasm, sharp logic, and brutal truth by 2 fearless media heavyweights. That's exactly what happened when the hosts of The View were suddenly on defense, scrambling to dodge the incoming firestorm. Let's start with Bill Maher, no ordinary late-night host, known for pushing
A view.
Well,
that's the problem in America.
But
There is one view,
Right, and
one
that's clearly
true opinion, and everybody else can go sit in the corner. Can we just understand that part of our sorry racial history in this country is that the point of view from a black person is often going to be very different and sometimes shocking to a white person. I pulled the quote from...
While everyone else tosses around soft takes like it's a casual game, Bill Maher plays verbal dodgeball with ruthless precision, and he's always aiming for the face. He doesn't apologize, he doesn't flinch, and he certainly doesn't play nice. So when he turned his focus on The View, there was no chance of a calm, polite exchange. Instead, it felt like someone hurled a Molotov cocktail straight into a smug echo chamber of political correctness, and Maher lit the match himself.
Donald Trump will be sworn in as the 47th president of the United States, yay, on January 20th of this month. Not everyone's happy about it, and many people would like us to be more focused on the insurrection that he personally unleashed. If you ask them, as we discussed earlier, they think it's as bad as like the Holocaust, and you don't have to take my word for it. Here is Sunny Hostin
of the
January
view
6th was an
today.
atrocity. It was one of the worst moments in American history. And when you think about the worst moments in American history, like World War II, things that happened, like the Holocaust, chattel slavery.
Yeah, the January 6th is right up there next to the Holocaust.
The first in Maher's crosshairs, Joy Behar. If you've ever watched The View, you know Joy is the reigning queen of oversimplifying anything remotely complex, like that one dinner guest who acts like an expert until someone actually challenges them. Maher didn't hold back. He called out Joy for being painfully predictable, the kind who never dares to step outside her cozy political bubble. Her whole persona, he implied, is built on loud, recycled hot takes, followed by the kind of nervous laughter that screams discomfort when pushed. And Maher, he's got zero patience for it. In his view, Joy's commentary has the intellectual depth of a kiddie pool, and he said what many viewers have silently thought for years. Then came the untouchable Whoopi Goldberg. Oh, Whoopi. She walks onto that stage like a human monument to the phrase, "I've been doing this forever, just trust me." But Maher wasn't buying the act. While Whoopi loves to present herself as the seasoned voice of reason, Maher exposed the cracks. More often than not, she sounds like that overconfident party guest who loudly kicks off a sentence with, "well," actually, only to follow it with a take that's not just outdated, but spectacularly off the mark.
Well, I had a different question, but it struck me that in the first segment you used the term woke, and you said that woke is what was sort of ruining everything. And I know that you're.
No, I didn't say ruining everything. I said that's why Trump could get reelected.
That's why Trump could get reelected.
Yeah.
So the term woke has been, in my view, co-opted by the right and weaponized and bastardized. And so I was surprised to hear you use the term, because historically, as you know, because I think you're quite brilliant, that woke is a word used by the black community to note that we must be aware of social injustices.
But words
and
migrate.
So why is that a bad thing?
It's not a bad thing, and originally that was absolutely a great thing. Alert to injustice. Who's not for that? But words.
He didn't pull a single punch when it came to Whoopi Goldberg. Bill Maher flat out called her out for masquerading as an all-knowing authority while recycling the same tired narratives echoed across mainstream media. You could practically hear the sarcasm drip from his voice as he shredded Whoopi's so-called thoughtful commentary. Thoughtful, of course, if you define it as the kind of half-baked takes that make the room wince while pretending to agree, just to avoid a meltdown. Maher's message was blunt. If you're going to claim the role of the voice of reason, you should at least make sense. He exposed the absurdity in Whoopi's constant lectures, rants dressed as wisdom, completely detached from the gritty realities of the real world. Then came Megyn Kelly, a whole different beast. While Maher brought the sarcasm, Kelly brought surgical precision. She doesn't just clap back, she dismantles. With the poise of a sniper and the logic of a litigator, she saw right through The View's performance. No dramatics, no filters, just truth on impact. In seconds, she cut straight through the performative outrage and ripped the hypocrisy wide open for the world to see.
Let's talk about what the ladies on The View are saying. It's somewhat stomach-turning, but we have a clip. Let's watch.
Word has just come down that Fox News Media and Tucker Carlson have agreed to part ways. Wave.
They're disgusting. She's Anna Navarro. In your wildest imagination, you could never solo host a show. You will only ever make it as part of an ensemble, and you could never hope to achieve the success that Tucker Carlson has. So you can sit in your little cheap seats all day long and enjoy your little negative henpecking, but your careers are going nowhere, and Tucker is about to dominate in whatever space.
First in Megyn Kelly's crosshairs, Sunny Hostin. While Sunny might not be The View's most combative figure, Kelly wasted no time exposing the cracks in her arguments. Hostin often steps into hot-button conversations around race and justice, but next to Kelly's razor-sharp legal mind and journalistic experience, she was completely outmatched. Megyn didn't show up with vague opinions or emotional buzzwords. She came armed with facts, precision, and no patience for fluff. As soon as she challenged Sunny, the weakness in Hostin's self-righteous tone became painfully obvious. Suddenly, Sunny was scrambling, trying to patch holes in her argument as Kelly dismantled it point by point. But Kelly wasn't done. Next up, Anna Navarro. Known for her non-stop preaching of political correctness while constantly tripping over her own contradictions, Navarro was the next target. Kelly called out what so many have noticed. Navarro talks a big game, but her record screams political, opportunist. Her smug delivery only made the hypocrisy more glaring. Kelly held up the mirror, and what stared back wasn't pretty.
Melania Trump came out and said she's about as pro-choice as they come. And here was the reaction on The View.
I think she hates him.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay, so we can all agree on that. That's a given. I also think that she wants to take him out. She does not want to be the first lady anymore.
Would you look? This is a network that still runs out fact checks to these women, like it's concerned about them staying factual. She hates Trump. She doesn't want to be near him. She doesn't want to be president again. She destroyed the Rose Garden, and she hates Christmas. That is what passes for news on a network they did a president.
Megyn Kelly wasn't letting Ana Navarro off the hook. She came armed with a kind of sharp, surgical truth that left no room for escape, calling out the glaring contradictions between Navarro's performative outrage and her actual track record. It was a takedown so direct that no amount of forced smiles or smug self-congratulation could hide the hypocrisy. But then, Kelly turned her sights to the biggest target of all, Whoopi Goldberg. And she didn't just criticize, she dissected. Drawing on her legal background, Kelly tore into Whoopi's hollow takes on cancel culture, free speech, and constitutional values. What followed wasn't opinion, it was a methodical, factual demolition of Whoopi's self-appointed status as the wise voice of reason. Kelly exposed the contradictions, the legal flaws, the moral confusion, and in doing so, she stripped away the illusion of Whoopi as some guiding moral compass. Instead, Whoopi suddenly looked less like a seasoned mentor and more like someone dangerously out of step with basic constitutional principles. By the time both Maher and Kelly were done, the ladies of The View didn't look like television veterans. They looked like a rattled high school debate team who just got bulldozed by professionals.
Goldberg was angry when Alyssa pointed out that Trump went to the funeral of Officer Diller on Long Island, and Joe Biden went to a podcast. Look at Whoopi Goldberg's reaction.
Choose what you like there, but for Republicans, it was good imagery.
Really?
One day later, yes.
And I'm asking that because I was so offended, because you know who...
This wasn't just an ideological clash. It was an intellectual bloodbath. What unfolded wasn't your typical back-and-forth argument. It was a surgical dismantling of empty virtue signaling and self-congratulatory noise. And Bill Maher and Megyn Kelly came out swinging. The View hosts, known for basking in their status as the informed voices of mainstream media, found themselves completely outmatched. On the other side, Kelly, icy and methodical, slicing through weak narratives with pinpoint precision. And Maher, savage and sardonic, exposing the media's hypocrisy with every breath. Together, they didn't just debate, they dominated. Their rhythm was brutal but poetic. Hit after hit landed effortlessly. And the most damning part? The hosts of The View didn't even realize they were losing. They stumbled, grasped for control, and tried to spin their way back into relevance. But by then, the damage was done. The end, The View didn't look like a panel of veteran pundits. They looked like a team blindsided by a masterclass in reality. Humbled, rattled, exposed. Maher and Kelly didn't just win the argument, they rewrote the rules of the conversation.
I'm old enough to remember when it was the conservatives who hated the Jews.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bill Maher, who has been the standard bearer for liberalism and in many ways leftism until the woke went bananas in this last decade, but for decades, that's what this guy has represented in America. I want you to note the tone they all talk with him. I want you to look at Sunny Huston's body language and the way they look at him and everything else. Just because he is a lefty who hasn't gone completely bananas, here they are.
Maher and Kelly didn't just win the debate, they made a statement that shook the foundation of mainstream media posturing. With precision, wit, and unfiltered intellect, they exposed just how quickly the shiny facade of The View crumbles, under real scrutiny. What was left standing wasn't a panel of strong voices. It was the hollow shell of a talk show, built on performative outrage and recycled talking points. By cutting through layers of political correctness, smug, self-righteousness, and surface-level diversity, Maher and Kelly revealed The View for what it really is, an echo chamber dressed up as open dialogue. a place where differing opinions are welcomed, but only if they fall in line with the approved script. The irony? It's almost poetic. A show that prides itself on enlightening the masses couldn't keep up with two people armed with logic, experience, and unshakable confidence. When Maher landed punchy truths and Kelly dissected hypocrisy with legal-level clarity, the hosts of The View weren't just outmatched. They were exposed. So the next time you're tempted to take The View seriously, just remember, Maher and Kelly walked in, dropped facts, and left the room spinning. They didn't just lead the conversation. They revealed that The View can't even teach a goldfish how to swim.
Has to be for everybody.
Right.
We can have platforms that have stuff on them that not everyone on that platform or who consumes stuff on that platform enjoys. And The View is a particularly weird place to do a cancellation.
It's called The View?
It's called The View. It's not called The Facts.
Yeah, but isn't it interesting that it's called, I don't think they meant this when Barbara Walters invented it a long time ago, but it's The View.
Well,
that's the problem in America.
But
there is one view.
Right, and
one
that's clearly
true opinion, and everybody else can go sit.
Megyn Kelly didn't need to raise her voice. She didn't have to. Her rebuttals were scalpel sharp, delivered with a cold precision that made Sunny Hostin look like she was being surgically dismantled by someone who had already signed the death certificate of her credibility. This wasn't a debate. It was an exorcism. And Megyn played the role of the stone-cold cleric, while Sunny flailed, desperately trying to convince the audience that reality itself was just another biased opinion. And here lies the real tragedy. Sunny's unshakable belief that her moral outrage is always righteous. She struts through conversations like her opinions were carved into stone tablets, divine truth, unchallengeable, unquestioned. Anyone who dares to disagree is instantly labeled a heretic, publicly shamed in the court of social media, all while she delivers her verdicts between ad breaks for menopause supplements and laxatives. But what makes it intolerable isn't just the sanctimony, it's the smug, performative, pretend intellectualism. Sunny doesn't have discussions. She holds rituals of judgment, complete with cherry-picked statistics, emotionally loaded anecdotes, and a condescending tone that feels more like a lecture from a substitute teacher who never read the syllabus. Her version of enlightenment is a lukewarm cocktail of buzzwords and identity politics, more exhausting than empowering. And ironically, Sunny loves to crown herself as a champion of women, until another woman disagrees. When Megyn Kelly had the audacity to suggest not every disagreement stems from racism or sexism, Sunny practically reached to revoke her woman card on live TV. Because apparently nothing says female empowerment like gatekeeping who's allowed to have thoughts. But the peak of the meltdown? It wasn't when Sunny lost the debate. It was when she pivoted to playing the moral victim. The classic move. When logic dries up, feelings take the wheel. And when feelings fail, she slams the panic button, accusing the opposition of threatening democracy, puppies, and brunch. Her emotional range is impressive, if only it came with facts. Bill Maher, of course, didn't play along. He calmly exposed the absurdity of it all, while Sunny sputtered into her mic, trying to salvage whatever was left of her collapsing narrative. What remained? A pile of deleted tweets, recycled hot takes, and a collective sigh from viewers desperate for someone, anyone, to finally make sense. Sunny Hostin's collapse wasn't a fall. It was a worldview imploding under the weight of its own contradictions. She came to save democracy with volume, and left having received a masterclass in logic, restraint, and the revolutionary idea that maybe, just maybe, she's not the smartest person in the room, especially when others don't need cue cards to make a point. And sure, her fans will frame it as a bold stand. But the rest of us? We saw it for what it was. A tantrum in heels, clinging to a crumbling illusion of moral clarity in a world that's just plain tired of the noise. There's a reason people hit mute when Sunny talks. It's not disagreement. It's exhaustion. They'd honestly rather listen to a dentist's drill than sit through another lecture about how humor is oppression and nuance is hate speech. Because at the end of the day, no matter how loudly she yells, no matter how passionately she clutches her pearls, or how many times she insists she's right, one thing is crystal clear.